I'm really, upset and at the same time surprised that this order has come at this moment when the Supreme Court in 2021 came to Goa. The CEC, the Central Empowered Committee of the Supreme Court, came to Goa and investigated the entire route, proposed route for the double track. Okay, and the observations of the committee, the CEC, were very positive in the sense they realized that Goa cannot contain the second track. Okay, now for various reasons we are suffering now. More than 100 years ago, our ancestors gave a pathway along their houses, because in those days they used to carry ladies on the mahila. Okay, and for the movement of this mahila, they gave the pathway in front of their houses. Later on, this pathway changed into a road, and now, much later, came the first track. Ever since, every family in the villages of South Goa, especially, Kasauli, Velsau, other South Goa villages are suffering because of various reasons. And I think these reasons are very obvious to the authorities. The noise pollution. Throughout the night, there is noise happening, okay? Honking, the movement of the trains along the tracks. And we all know that this noise pollution keeps the people awake, especially the senior citizens. At least children and the youth will fall asleep. They fall into a deep sleep. But the seniors may not sleep. And they are awake throughout the night. And this can cause health problems, okay? Constriction of blood vessels leading to pressure problems and other ailments. But it doesn't seem to matter to the government. Coal dust pollution can lead to a lot of health problems, because we all know that coal dust contains heavy metals like lead, arsenic, mercury, etc. And these heavy metals are highly toxic and can cause respiratory problems, including cancer, asthma, etc. And are causing. We are aware of this little child who was 7 years old, about 4 years ago, died of cancer in Vasco. And the doctor said that this was basically due to the impact of coal dust, okay, that the child was breathing in. Now, what about our houses in the various villages along the railway track? Some of our houses are more than 100 years old, not 100 years old, 500 years old. Minister Saldhana's house is more than 500 years old. And similarly, there are countless houses which are heritage homes. Now, due to the vibrations caused by the moving trains, there are cracks right from the roof to the floor, okay? And these cracks go on becoming larger. And the people, poor things, again and again, they are filling up the cracks, closing the tracks. Within a few months, the cracks appear again. And now, with the second track, what will be the condition of these heritage homes? All over the world, heritage is protected. Why is it that the government is out to destroy Goa, the pearl of the Orient, the most beautiful state and the smallest state of our country? I don't understand why the government is doing this. In fact, Goa should be given special protection, more so because of its smallness. It is too tiny, but nobody seems to care. On the contrary, the CEC had stated very clearly that Goa cannot contain the second track. Now the CEC was appointed by which court? By none other than the Supreme Court. And today, the CEC directions and observations have been given no importance at all. and the government wants to go ahead and lay down the second track through the state of Goa. What will be our condition? Okay, now another important issue. Now more than 100 years the track is there, the first track is there. Has Southwestern Railway Authority put any infrastructure for the movement of the people of the village, of the various villages? There is nothing. And you know, you'll be shocked, but I have observed this with my eyes. There are people who want to cross the track and there are parked trains, okay? So do you know how they cross the track? They go from under the parked train. Can you believe it? And this is the truth. And I have seen it because my sister-in-law, who was teaching in Mapsa, St. Xavier's College, she used to do that. Whenever she felt she was going to be late and had no time to wait for the train to move away, she would cross from under the parked train. And believe me, one day I tried to do that, but I didn't have the courage. I just started and I got so scared, I came out. There are school-going children that have to cross the tracks, but the government has not put a single infrastructure to help the movement of the citizens. And today, to make matters worse, the government is coming with the second track. What is going to be the state, the condition, the safety of the people, the durability of our ancestral homes? Okay, what about pollution and the impact of this pollution on the health of the villagers? I think what the CEC of the Supreme Court had suggested was very, very wisely suggested. I don't know how what the Supreme Court in 2021 had suggested has changed totally. And now we are definite that the second track is coming. So this is the beginning of the end of our beautiful state of Goa, the pearl of the Orient. Pearl because of its size and its beauty. Is this right? And can we, accept this destruction sitting down? I think very soon everyone is going to come out on the roads. Everyone's house is going to be affected. And let me tell you, we think that, the coal dust pollution will be only in the south. No. Coal dust pollution will also reach the north of Goa because Goa is a tiny dot on the map of India. So I believe that the government still has time. Now, why is it that the government, now let us go point by point. The coal, it is Adani's coal that is coming from Australia to the port of Goa. From Goa, it is being taken to Hospet, where the steel industry is located. Okay? Now, what I am saying is, why is it that now, if you look at Karnataka, one, we know how big Karnataka is compared to Goa. It's about 62 times bigger than Goa. Second, it has about 9 ports. Goa has only 1 port, Mormugao. Karnataka has 9 ports. Why can't this coal be landed at one of the ports in the state of Karnataka? And from there, it can be transported to Hospet, where the steel industry is located. Why isn't this, which is most practical, obvious, and will not harm Karnataka the way it will harm Goa? Because Karnataka is a huge state. Goa is a dot on the map. But why is it that that the government is focused and bent on destroying Goa? This is my question. When there are alternatives, Karnataka, because eventually the coal from Goa is being carried to Karnataka. So why not lend the coal that is coming from wherever in Karnataka and from there take it to where it has to go, Hospet, wherever. I find this very, I don't know, I really don't understand what is the motive behind. It almost looks like the government wants to destroy Goa. And Goa is loved by the world. We have tourists coming from all over the world enjoying Goa. Our own tourists from our various states come to Goa and they love Goa. And Goa is blessed with natural beauty. Why are we so bent on destroying this beauty? Why are we so bent in exposing the people of the state to all kinds of health risks due to coal dust pollution? And it is a fact. This coal dust will not be only in the air. The coal dust also goes into the water bodies. And this is a fact that I witnessed, I can say, because one day, when I was at the house of ex-Sarpanch of Belsaun, Mrs. Fatima Pereira, her lady who works at her house, she had gone to the market and she had come back from the market with fish, okay? And then suddenly there was a loud, sound calling us to the kitchen. She said, come soon, come to see. And she had brought shote. And when we went into the kitchen, she opened the operculum of the fish. And below the operculum, covering the gills, was a thick, slimy layer of coal dust. Now, this is what will happen to our own lungs. This is what will happen to our health. How can the government expose its people to such risks? Risks to life, because our health will deteriorate, our children will suffer. Secondly, right now, our children, our senior citizens have problems crossing the first track. Working people don't know how to, cross the track because of parked trains or moving trains. And they cannot afford to go walking to the other side because it's quite a long distance. So that's why some of them go under the train and cross the track. Why are we exposing the senior citizens to the risk of getting hit by a moving train? Because sometimes our senior citizens are not focused. Why expose Goa to this when there are countless solutions to the issue? Yeah. The CEC of the Supreme Court had made very definite observations and suggestions, okay? First point that they spoke about is that the doubling of the existing railway line will not have any positive impact on the gradient and curvature of the new line, and it will operate at the same inefficient level as the existing line. And existing line as the running trains move up the Ghat and down the Ghat, okay? Railway line was laid in 1980s when there was no other rail connectivity available to Goa. Right now, at the moment, the Konkan railway line gives excellent connectivity to northern and southern parts of India. So why not make use of course, I'm sure we are using it, but we could increase it in areas where it is possible without harming the environment, without harming the people of the area. Okay? There are so many issues, Now, for example, the current movement of goods to Murmugaon port constitutes presently only about 20% of the rakes that go out from Goa. Only 20% of the rakes are presently being, that is in 2021, okay? It might have increased, but this is one fact, that the rakes, only 20% of the rakes going out from India and from Goa, and which leave a huge unutilized capacity in the existing line. So why don't we tackle that? Increase the capacity on the existing line. Don't put another line. Don't lay a second track closer to the houses. So in some cases, the track is entering into the compounds of the houses. How will these houses, manage to stay up? And what will happen to the residents? Is the government going to provide houses to the dwelling place for the inhabitants of these houses, for the people of these houses? when their houses collapse, where will they go? Will the government provide accommodation? And what about the heritage value of these houses? These are heritage houses. These are old houses, more than 100 years old. Are we going to destroy our heritage? I think government has to evaluate every sector of this project and find solutions. And most important of all, make sure that the lives of the people, especially of our younger generations and our senior citizens, is protected. And this can be done by making sure that the second track is not laid. Because there is no alternative for the second track. The second track comes too close to the houses. In some cases, the second track is coming inside the compounds of the houses. In some cases, on the veranda of the houses. Will people live in these houses? So you're throwing people out of their homes and you call this development. For whose benefit? There is still time for the government to think, to understand the need to drop double tracking along this route and make use of other resources available. No? We have the Konkan Railway. So let us use, and also the capacity for transportation on the existing line is not 100% used. Make use of that facility right up to the fullest, okay? And save Goa, save the houses of Goa, save the people of Goa who will be subjected to all kinds of health problems, including cancer. See, our appeal, my appeal, and all those who are concerned, everybody is concerned. Everybody knows the impact the double track is going to have upon their lives. Okay? And I'm surprised that the government doesn't seem to be thinking of the people. We are not animals. Animals have to be taken care of. Okay? And how much more should we take care of our human beings, our little children? And therefore, how much we've been appealing, okay? We've had meetings, we've had demonstrations, and to our great relief, the Supreme Court's committee, CEC, had come out with a beautiful report saying that the second track, parallel to the present track, is not possible. Why don't we take this into consideration and save Goa? Save Goa from total destruction. From all points of view, the people will suffer, the environment will suffer, our trees, animals will suffer, our water bodies will suffer. Why can't we think of the magnitude of wrongs that will happen and get the coal to be dropped at Karnataka, and from there take it to Hospat where the steel industry is. And I'm not saying that Karnataka should bear with the pollution, but the fact is that Karnataka is a huge state. Karnataka, I think, is about 62 times bigger than Goa. So it is in a better position to cope with this issue than dot-sized Goa.
Thank you.
In 2019, okay, the villagers of Arosi, Kasauli, Pale, Velsaung, Izorsi and Sankwal villages in Kortali constituency, presented a memorandum to the Honorable Chief Minister of Goa, Dr. Pramod Sawant, and to the then Collector of South Goa, okay, with signatures, almost about 1,800 signatures, asking the government and giving reasons why the second track cannot be laid through the villages of South Goa and the damage that it will cause. And I have a copy of this file that was presented to the Honorable Chief Minister and to the then Collector of South Goa. And I would like to just, but unfortunately, nothing seems to change the minds of those at the helm of affairs to save Goa and to save the people of Goa.